Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's really a great honor for me to moderate this afternoon that panel. Thank you, Roberto, for this invitation. I'm Aurélie Simard. I'm leading Center of Expertise for Cooperation on AI at Inria. One thing we all share, I think, in this room is really a deep conviction about the crucial importance of protecting and preserving software heritage, but we might wonder whether the stakes are the same in the world of artificial intelligence. So the question, basically, we try to tackle with that panel is why and how putting AI in the open, particularly through open source initiatives. And during this panel entitled AI Transparency and Regulation, we have the immense privilege to host experienced researchers, policymakers, innovation ecosystem builder, who will share their insight to enlighten that, in fact, basic question. So in alphabetic order, we have the privilege to host online Abhishek Singh. Abhishek served as additional secretary in the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology in India. He's right now connected from New Delhi. He oversees artificial intelligence, emerging technology, and cyber securities in his ministry. He's also the former lead chair of the Global Partnership on AI. And as an engineer by training, he also has experience as a business leader in the tech sector. Thank you, Abhishek, for being here with us. On my left, we have Dr. Agata Ferretti. Agata is the AI Alliance lead for Europe at IBM Research in Switzerland. Thank you for being here. Within the AI Alliance, Agata, you help to ensure the AI is developed and deployed collaboratively and transparently, driving positive change and benefits for the community. We have also the pleasure to host Dr. Fabio Porto. Fabio is a senior researcher at the Brazil National Laboratory of Scientific Computing. You lead also an Inria international share dedicated to supporting scientists in creating efficient machine learning workflow across diverse datasets and computing platform, and you are also actively engaged in AI initiative addressing climate change. Online from Brussels, we have the privilege also to host Gaspard Demur. Gaspard Demur is the deputy head of unit of AI and innovation and policy coordination at the European Commission AI office. Gaspard oversees European digital innovation hubs and testing and experimentation facilities under the Digital Europe program, with also extensive knowledge of innovation in Europe energy industrial ecosystem. In this room, we also host Dr. Nayat Sanchez-Pi. Nayat is the director of the Inria Chile centers. She leads the binational Franco-Chilean Center on AI. She is actively involved in shaping the future of AI on a global scale. For several years, she has been collaborating with several Latin American governments on national AI strategies. And at least we also host the well-known here Stefano Maffulli. Stefano is the executive director of the open source initiative is widely recognized for his expertise in promoting and governing open source, advocating for its principles globally, and also ensuring technology remain open, transparent, and accessible. Thank you for each of us to being here. And my first question is for Stefano to open this panel. And it's a bit of a basic question. Stefano, what do we really mean when we talk about open source in AI?
Thank you. Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here. If you asked me this question a year ago, I would have not been able to give an authoritative answer, not even a comfortable one. But today I have a better one. If you ask me next year, I may have resort back to say, I don't know, given how quickly things change in this space. But last year, one thing that we already knew collectively as a society was that we wanted to have the same principles of open source software being carried into the AI space. In other words, you know that you want to have the freedoms that are granted by the open source definition into, even if you're using an AI system, or in other words, even if you're using something that is not being programmed, not being written by a human, but it learns automatically and infers outputs based on inputs. That's more or less what the definition of an AI system is. And so we started looking into the space because we knew that we were not looking at software that is written by humans. In other words, the concept of source code that we are familiar with is not the same when we talking about machine learning, neural networks, and these new machines that have been popular for the past 3-4 years, or revolutionary in the past 3-4 years. So these machines learn automatically after a bunch of different complex operations, let's say, that involve the hardware, software, knowledge, and data. And so we had to think, what is it that it's required in order to exercise the 4 freedoms that we expect to be receiving every time we use software. And the existing documents didn't help us. Like the open source definition, there is a point number 2 in the open source definition says that the program must provide the source code. And that source code, we don't know what it is for AI. We didn't know. We now know today, after asking developers, different people, like we asked more than 100 people from 25, 27 different countries, a third of them from the global south. We tried to run a very wide, comprehensive process, asking them, what is that you actually need to modify, study, share, and execute an AI system? And the response that came back is that you need to have access basically to 3 sorts of components. One, the model weights, the parameters, the output of that training process. Then the whole machine of the training, so the code, the complete code that has been used for running the training sessions, the training process. Also, the complete code used to create the data set, that is filtering the data, processing and creating the final data set, the training data sets and the testing data sets. And finally, you need to have access to the data itself when it's legally possible to distribute. And if not legally possible to distribute, then you need to provide a very, very detailed list of where you got it from, who gave it to you, under what conditions, etc. So that was that is the practical response that we can give today to that covers pretty much all sorts of AI. That includes, AIs that make predictions over facts like weather patterns or something like that, but also AIs that require access to data that is usually considered non-distributable, like medical systems or other types of systems. We can give this answer today to anyone who asks, what should I ask for? What is the open source version of this AI system? How do I exercise these freedoms in a free way without restrictions?
Thank you for this preliminary definition. My second question is for you, Abhishek. How is the Indian government supporting open source initiative to build high quality AI services to develop the market in India and to meet Indian citizen needs? How it's happened?
Thank you, Aurélie, and congratulations for hosting this excellent panel. And it's I joined a bit earlier. I was looking at the open source presentation of the earlier session also, very, very insightful. So when it comes to India, of course, we take a lot of the AI ecosystem that we are trying to build flows from the earlier digital public infrastructure that we built, because we felt that whenever we have to deliver public services and whenever we deliver public services at scale, we do need open standards and open source software solutions. And that has helped us in building several platforms, whether it's for payments, the unified payment interface, which is used by almost 500 million people in India, or the DigiLocker project, wherein we have almost again 450 million users, or the biometric project that we do. So, and the entire the design and the architecture of the projects were such that people could build on top of it. So if the digital public infrastructure works like that, the basic foundations, the basic building blocks, especially of identity, of payments, and of document data exchange, these were built. And the data architecture that we built, a consent-based data architecture, was in such a way that other services, whether it's in education or healthcare or agriculture or child welfare, they could plug into this. So this required creating a open source system architecture to which all systems could join in and build together. And this same principle we have tried to take on in our India AI mission, under which we are trying to address the gaps that exist in our AI ecosystem. And therein also one foremost requirement that all AI researchers, developers, entrepreneurs, they refer to is number one, availability of data, the quality data sets with which they can train the models, and number two, for making availability of compute. So we have worked out a system in which we will provide data through an platform which will be easily accessible to all users, along with tools and models to work on the data. This is called the India Datasets Platform. So that's and on top of that, when AI applications are built in, many of them are using the open source models. Especially, many were using Llama 3 so far, but especially with the coming in of DeepSeek, the whole narrative has totally changed. And the price points at which the APIs of DeepSeek are available are so competitive that many users are also thinking of hosting these open source models onto their servers and then building services on top of it. So this entire thing is the support. If you look at the support is coming from Government of India, number one, we are providing the datasets platform along with API based access for all users and developers to use it for building their solutions. The other key component for building it, and of course that will apply to both open source and proprietary source developers for AI solutions, is making available compute. And compute also was something that was a big challenge. So for that, we kind of have ensured that around 20,000 GPUs are available for those who are using it for building applications by fine-tuning the model, doing inferencing. That is made available. The third key component for this whole ecosystem development has been to launch an application development initiative. Under this, what we are doing is that we have issued problem statements across 5 themes. In the initial round, we took the themes of climate change, healthcare, agriculture, learning disabilities, and governance. And we asked AI developers to build solutions, and we kind of prioritize, incentivize those who are building open source solutions. So that has also kind of greatly helped in creating a marketplace for open source AI solutions in the AI ecosystem. Then we are also have introduced open source solutions into existing projects. Like, for example, we have a project called Potion Tracker, with which we track the malnourishment and the children below the age of 5 years where they're given nourishment. So there is a lot of data that's coming from the centers in the villages where these children get nutrition support. That data is analyzed with AI models to predict malnourishment at an early stage and to take necessary interventions at the right time. A lot of applications, we have built some open source AI conversational tools which multiple departments can use and customize and ensure that they are able to offer informational services to various government departments, various citizens. And one very key requirement in a country like India with so much of diversity is that we have almost 22 languages, 22 official languages, a lot of dialects. So there is a lot of requirement of our people to access services in Indian languages. So for that, we are implementing an NLP project called Bhashini, under which all the models, the translation and transliteration models have been open source and they are made available to all developers and they can plug and play the AI models for not only text to text translations, but also speech to text and text to speech, so that voice enabled services are also possible. So this ensures that the those who are building the solution, they don't need to kind of invest time and energy in building these common tools. They are made available in a common repository. We have a project called API Setu in which all the APIs are hosted. So there are around more than 4,000 APIs that are made available. So creating this ecosystem of open API sharing and allowing it to be used by various departments, building up an open data portal, building up providing common tools, especially for safe and trusted and ethical AI, like tools for privacy preservation, tools for anonymization, tools for checking algorithmic bias. All this is kind of helping develop the open source AI ecosystem in the country. So these are some of the examples that we are working on, which I wanted to share.
Thank you, Abhishek, for this really inspiring testimony and concrete example. I now turn to my colleague Nayat from Chile. We see that open source in AI offers great opportunities, but to what extent should we be cautious about the potential risks linked to such effort? And perhaps, Nayat, you can also highlight how the Chile's AI national strategy addresses these challenges. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation. I take the chance, Roberto, to thank you for the invitation, for being here, and also to share the panel with all of you. And thank you to Stefano, first of all, for giving the floor and to put in place what open source AI is, and I think it's important in the context that we're living today. So when talking about opportunities of open source AI, it's important to say that it is the first necessary step towards transparency, replicability, reusability, technological independence, innovation, acceleration, democratization, and this is very important in places and in regions like Latin America, where we are coming from. We have seen this tremendous AI acceleration thanks mainly to the culture of the computer science community for many, many years of sharing results in an open source way, and thus enabling incremental results that rely on existing results, and thus without having to go back to square one every time we need to create new results. For example, many of the machine learning results like transfer learning, few-shot learning, or more recently, techniques like low-rank adaptation for efficient fine-tuning LLMs, all of them reach out their full impact on an open source context, and this is not a secret. And of course, other factors like the hardware have also influenced, but undoubtedly the open source and the open access data culture has had and is having tremendous positive impact on AI. However, open source models are part of the solution, but they are not enough. For instance, the infrastructure necessary for training them can be expensive to acquire, but also to operate. And in any case, freedom also comes with responsibility, right? One could argue that it also could simplify its potential misuses, as the models are available to everyone, and therefore anyone with a bad intention could use them. But open source software thrives in the principle that many eyes make all box shallow, and the idea that open source software by its very nature, benefits of the continuous scrutiny and also an improvement by a global community of developers, which in turn reduces, in principle, the risk of unintentional harm. But I think that the benefits are bigger than the risks, and in particular because the risks are also present in closed source solutions with the added impediment that they are closed source and they are harder to evaluate. Whether a model is open or closed, risk mitigation approaches are needed to implement through the whole AI life cycle, including data collection, model pre-training, fine-tuning, and post-release measures. We should know, however, that there is a more nuanced scenario. I want to highlight that when we apply those models with a valid, even if we have a valid, legitimate goal, and without a bad intention, but in such a way that we can cause harm anyway. So the fact that these models are more readable, available, into inexperienced practitioners imply that we should properly document not only their features, but also their known shortcomings. And I see a particular contribution to, and also responsibility, also to software heritage in its role of maintaining a comprehensive information on source code. Having said that, I want to emphasize that I'm more than convinced of the importance of open source to boost innovation, and the benefits of open source AI outweigh the drawbacks, and I really hope that stays like that. Can I continue with the question of Chile, or do I stop? Sure? Okay. Well, with respect to Chile, I just want to highlight that Chile is a pioneer in developing its AI strategy and plan in Latin America. And its approach is aligned also with the European and French AI strategies, particularly in its focus on ethical consideration, governance, and also in public-private collaboration. I can say a few things to contextualize what I have just mentioned. Chile has been proactively recognizing the potential of AI. I can say that it's an early adopter, okay, for several years. In 2021, Chile launched a national AI policy that set out a clear framework of AI development, focuses on ethical consideration, governance, in cultural preservation, in environmental impact of AI, and promoting also public-private collaboration. Chile also worked together with UNESCO for many years, and after the UNESCO launches the recommendation of ethics of artificial intelligence, Chile was the first country to apply and complete the UNESCO readiness assessment methodology for AI, and this alignment with international standards in a way. And also Chile is leading, I would say, the regional dialogue together, of course, with other countries on AI in terms of governance, also an ethical and responsible use of AI. And last but not least, Chile has been introducing an AI since last year, an AI bill aimed at regulating and promoting the ethical and responsible development of AI that is under approval currently in the Congress, showcasing commitment to a comprehensive approach based on risk. And while the Chilean AI strategy, it's not explicitly outlined the open source AI as a central pillar, it aligns with the principles of open data and fosters an environment that supports the growth and the open source AI initiative. And yes, there's a clear alignment with the European and the French initiatives. I mean, in the ethical AI development and the core principles, both, I would say the three prioritize human-centered AI and the respect of fundamental rights. Also, Chile focused on AI governance and regulation. That is also in line with the European Union's approach in the AI Act, which is moving forward a risk-based regulatory framework of AI. Also encourage the multi-stakeholder public-private partnership on AI, and this is also resonates a lot with the way with both European and also French strategies, and also the international collaboration. And this is very important because in the case of the Chilean strategy, it takes a very important role. And the proof is that last November, Inria signed an agreement with the Chilean government, in particular with the Ministry of Science, Chilean Ministry of Science, to create a binational Franco-Chilean Center of AI, which is a very concrete deliverable of the AI Action Summit that will take place in a few days. They have the objective to connect both ecosystems of AI, the French and the Chilean one, through science of excellence to support public policies, and that is already defined 6 axes of work: AI evaluation, to safety, connected to safety AI. And I just saw that there was launched the first report on AI, safety AI. Joshua Benji just did that a few moments ago. Frugal and embedded AI, which is connected to the AI environmental impact. AI for science, also to accelerate other sciences. Gen AI and foundational models, especially in the case of low resource languages, like connected mainly to the cultural preservation of languages in Chile and also in Latin America. AI and public policy connected to future of work and global governance. And last but not least, AI and innovation. And I think in the role of open source AI will take, without any doubt, a huge space on that, and I hope will accelerate outlining the open source AI as a central pillar of innovation in Chile and the digital preservation of unrepresented culture, and by that to increase the impact of software heritage in Chile and also in Latin America.
Thank you very much, Nayat, for your contribution. I have a question now for you, Agata. Day after day, you work on fostering collaboration between industry within your role at the AI Alliance. Can you basically share with us what are the challenges for this industry to cooperate, and perhaps also to share some success story and key factor of success in that initiative? Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invite. So first of all, I think to share some of the results and the gains of the AI Alliance, I think we have to bring us back at the beginning. And maybe for those of you in the room that do not know what the AI Alliance is, basically, imagine a couple of years ago in 2022, when AI, in particular generative AI, came in our lives. Most of that work has been done behind closed doors by, for sure, the private sector, all the training, all the testing, all the development, right? And some companies, particular IBM and Meta, but together with other 50 institutions, including academic institutions, research institutions, NGOs, foundations, startups around the world came together and thought that, well, AI, in particular generative AI, seemed to be something too big and too important for us as humans to be left in the hand of very few and developed and tested behind closed doors. And so the reason why I think now, after almost little bit more than a year, we are still together. We grew from 50 members to almost 150 members across the globe, is that we still stand behind the mission of and the willingness to build AI that is in open space, that is safe, that is trusted and trustworthy. And so this is for sure one of the reasons that keep us partners together and wanted to move forward. The second reason, I think, that, again, bringing together so different members and also stakeholders at the table and keep them there and keep them engaged, is that we see that there are common challenges across sectors that we want to tackle, and most likely that are not so easy to tackle by individual members alone. And this some of these challenges I'm referring to and concerns that are related to AI and particularly generative AI have to do, for example, with problems related to data that are used to train the machines, but also the safety and the benchmarking in terms of quality and how we evaluate these machines. And so I can reference two of the main initiatives, that core initiatives of the AI Alliance that we have for this year, and one of these is called Open Trusted Data Initiative. And with this initiative, again, that brings together partners cross-sector and also very interdisciplinary effort, I would say. We want to build, first of all, specification standards and governance for data, right, that really focuses on data provenance, how the data were used, how the data were clean, how the data were curated before getting to the machines. And once we set these standards, the idea is really to build tools altogether, to build tools that can test and prepare data sets to align to these standards, right? And once we have done this, the idea is also to collect and test against these tools open trusted data sets, so create a sort of open trusted data catalog that can be a resource for the community. And of course, in this we see an important collaboration with work that Software Heritage is doing. On the side of trust and safety in particular, we are looking at, once again, defining what are the standards, what is the taxonomy that help us really defining safety in AI. But once again, we recognize that AI is used in domain specific and context, right? So it's something, if we want to define very high level principles, which again, the UNESCO have done a great job of doing, but then how do we translate those principles in practice? And this is one of the activities we do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Agata. I propose to go to Brussels now with Gaspard. Gaspard, you work at the AI office, and during the negotiation of the AI Act, several technology players launched an open letter asking for support of open source. So my question is quite simple. Could you explain how the European Commission AI Office supports European stakeholders in the adoption and the dissemination of AI in the open? Thank you, Gaspard.
Thanks a lot, and thanks for the occasion to speak to you. Indeed, we've been quite busy, at the European Union level on the AI dimension. We have adopted the AI Act last summer, and since then we have established the EU AI Office for the implementation of that piece of legislation. But of course, and as discussed by the previous panel, having a lot of relationship with the Cyber Resilience Act, the Product Liability Directive, but also the Data Protection Regulation. So indeed, now we are looking very much into the implementation of the AI Act and trying to bring full clarity to the different stakeholders on how the AI Act is really, in the scope of their own activities. We have established now the governance structure with the member states. We call it the AI board. And there we also collaborate very precisely with the stakeholders, open source or proprietary, on how the different models, but also the different systems that are in the scope of the AI Act are going to be tackled for making sure that their safety, depending on the level of risk, is actually monitored. Now this is full speed. We're working on the development of the standards, of the code of practice, on high risk, on prohibition, and we really try to have a dialogue with the main industry players, but also the open source community, to make sure that we bring as much clarity as possible, depending on the scope of the AI Act. But what is really important is that we do not see the regulation for a safe and trustworthy AI as the end of the road. We actually see the AI Act as a key part of an EU AI innovation ecosystem, because once we make sure that this AI, proprietary or open source, is safe, is trustworthy and human-centered, we want to make sure that this AI is actually taken up as an innovation by our companies, by our SMEs, and by our public administration. And so we are developing a number of tools, and was really interested also to listen to what is happening in India and in Chile and in the rest of the world on promoting this uptake of AI. We at EU level have a number of tools, notably the AI on Demand platform, which is a platform for bringing all the tools, all the models and systems that are available to the knowledge of the innovators and of the companies. We are also setting up what we call the AI factories. These are actually access to our super computer, to our high performance computers financed by the European Union, be it Leonardo, in Italy, or other super computers in Finland or in the rest of Europe. This will help innovators in the field of AI to actually train their model and systems for basic training, fine-tuning, and inference, and really help them to have the compute that they need for going the next steps. We are also developing what we call testing and experimentation facilities, where innovators and content providers will be able to test their AI system and models in labs for free, or in the real world for testing the services and the products based on AI models, and really see how they can bring them to the market. I will also quote maybe the network of European digital innovation hubs. These are hubs, everywhere in Europe. We have more than 200 of them in the different regions. They have a thematic dimension, and they're really there to bring the AI innovation, be it proprietary or open source, to the companies, to the local public administration, and to see how they can actually use this safe AI and human-centered AI in their process, in their products and services. We have advisors that are going to the SMEs on the ground, explain the benefits, the potential risks, the liability that is coming with AI, and really showing how you can use AI using best practices, very concrete cases on the application of AI on a daily basis. I will stop there,
Yes, please.
leave the floor to other speakers.
Okay, thank you very much, Gaspard, for this really broad and crystal clear landscape of European initiative. We would really keen on ask you lots of questions on this each of initiative, but unfortunately we don't have time. And it's now, in fact, time for coffee break. So I will ask the Yes, I know. I will just ask my colleague Fabio to do his contribution as short as he can. But we are really keen on highlight.
How much time do I get?
I will ask you, Fabio, to highlight the Brazilian public policy on AI. And perhaps also I have a question about AI footprint and how it is taken into account in the research you did. Thank you.
Thank you, Aurélie. I'd like also to thank Alberto Di Cosmo for inviting me to come here. It was a great pleasure to participate in this symposium. So I have two heads. So he is actually exhibit my head of researcher, but also the head of the AI Institute at LNCC, which is an initiative funded by the Ministry of Science and Technology and Innovation in Brazil, as part of the plan, the artificial intelligence plan that was proposed last year. And the plan is actually a materialization of the strategy that was proposed in 2021, and which mostly has the two main parts that are what's going on. So AI that's already happening in different science and in companies. And another which is more structuring access, which involves infrastructure. So there is a budget of $3.5 billion in the whole package of the strategy, but 1.8 for a new specific AI machine that will be hosted at LNCC. We currently have one supercomputer with peak performance of 14 petaflops, and this one is really, this new one is supposed to be really huge. Difference being that the second one would be for both research and innovation and industry, whereas the first one is only for research. So, and the plan goes on and proposes the creation of centers, AI centers. So there are 10 of them already in place in different thematic areas like health, education, energy, industry. And there is my institution, which is broader in the sense that it supports the research point of view of the Ministry of Science and Technology, And I am an expert at GPI, which is a global partnership on AI. In that context, working on future of work and responsible AI working groups. But we also have other actions, like we're supporting the Brazilian Olympics, AI Olympics. And it's amazingly, in the first phase of the Olympics, have 700,000 students registered. So we're already in the second phase, and then we're going to support them for the International Olympiad. The idea of providing literacy in AI at very young ages is another point. Well, another point of the Institute is also supporting the researchers. So we managed to catalog 8 AI groups spread in all regions of Brazil. And these people can actually apply for support and participate in international forums and conferences, which is another very important aspect. Just a second. And well, we also provide working on ethics. And this has a link with the footprint that Aurélie mentioned. So actually footprint we see from 2 aspects. There is an aspect from energy consumption and the use of this huge platform. And there are a few initiatives on that. So building new algorithms that can efficiently use the GPUs that we have available, particularly looking for how can you actually use the amount of data that's specifically tied to the task that you're looking for. So not really wasting execution cycles for data that you're not learning anything from it. So how can you do that? We're looking on that. And we also, in the ethical part, we just ran the first Latin America International Ethics Conference in Rio. And that was a pretty successful in people from all countries in Latin America. And we also working on algorithms that try to review Turing machine tests now in this new context of AI tools. So I think briefly, I think this, so I have just to finish in terms of software heritage, I think, which is an important comment to make. So LNCC is, so we provide the service research infrastructure for the whole community in different sciences in Brazil. And the question is how these people actually use efficiently those machines. So can we use the software in software heritage to learn models that actually can help these people to provide, to build efficient code that are necessary to run in these machines with efficiency, energetic cost. So thank you very much. That's why.
Stefano, I give you the final words.
Oh, I just wanted to add one little comment. I was hoping that some of the panelists would pick it up, but I have to be that guy. In the context of what is an open source AI, I heard mentioned Llama, and that's appalling because Llama is not an open source anything. It's not open source AI. It's not an open source piece of thing. The terms of use of Llama contains restrictions that are so appallingly clearly in violation of the basic principles of open source that we should all in this room join the effort of the OSI, and this is my call to action, to tell Jan LeCun publicly, tell Mark Zuckerberg, whenever they try to sell us this idea, this false idea, that Llama is open source, and tell them it's actually so clearly in violation of the open source definition that this is not true. So stop it. Thank you.